Thanks for joining me for this Padres post-game recap for May 18th. And wow, what a ball game. Padres take game 3 of this 4-game set with the Nationals by a score of 2-1. 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Padres. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Nationals. And this was basically a pitcher's duel the whole way through. Eric Stults going against Jordan Zimmermann. Both pitchers were absolutely outstanding. The Padres actually drew first blood against Zimmermann, and it was a home run by Yonder Alonso in the second inning. It was a fastball inside. Zimmermann did not get it in enough. Yonder was able to pull it over the right field fence, 1-0 Padres, and then it was Eric Stults' turn to just absolutely deal. He goes 5 innings of no-hit ball. There was actually a little thought in the back of my partner Ted Leitner's mind that maybe he would see his first Padre no-hitter, but it wasn't meant to be. He did give up a hit in the 6th inning, but he was outstanding tonight. Did a great job of controlling his fastball to both sides of the plate, was magnificent with his changeup, and he really kept the National batters off balance the entire night, and you could tell the Nats were trying to outguess Eric Stults. There were times where they were taking fastballs down the middle, then they would chase a changeup down in the dirt. They just had no idea, and he and John Baker worked masterfully to keep them off balance and use the entire repertoire. Used some curveballs early in the game, then he kind of shelved it for a while, went changeup slider, and then he busted out that big slow curveball again later in the ball game. He did get some help in the 3rd inning. Nationals had a base running blunder, and there were several for both sides in this ball game. But in the 3rd inning, the Nats had runners on 2nd and 3rd. Suzuki, the catcher, was on 3rd base. The pitcher, Zimmermann, was standing on 2nd with 1 out. Ground ball to the right side. Actually, it was a ground ball off the leg of Eric Stults. It caromed to the right side over to Yonder Alonso. He was able to step on first base to record the out. Now, usually with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, that is going to be a contact play. In other words, the base runners know that as soon as the ball is put into play, you're off and running. They're trying to get the run across. Zimmermann had that figured out. He ran from 2nd base to 3rd base. The problem was Suzuki did not get the sign at 3rd, so he was still standing on 3rd base when Zimmermann was heading towards 3rd base. After Yonder tanks first for the force out, he looks up. There's 2 runners standing on 3rd. He does the perfect thing. He starts rounding the batter back to 3rd base. So the runner at 3rd base, instead of being able to score, he ran him back to 3rd. Now there's 2 runners standing on 3rd base. He was prepared to tag both of them. And of course, the runner that was originally there, Suzuki, would have had rights to the base. Zimmermann would have been out. Zimmermann alertly steps off 3rd base, starts heading back to 2nd so that he avoids that situation with 2 runners standing on the bag. Suzuki, on the other hand, he comes off the 3rd base bag again, and Yonder's able to tag him for the easy out, and that's the end of the inning. Terrible base running by the Nationals that cost them at least 1 run and possibly more and allowed Eric Stults to get off the hook. Later on in the ball game, the Nationals finally did push a run across, so it's 1-1 at that point. Going into the 8th inning, this time it was the Padres' turn to have a base running blunder. And it was unusual because it was made by Chase Headley, who's usually a great base runner. This happened in the 7th inning. Runners on 1st and 2nd, base hit to the infield single to the shortstop. He rounded 3rd base too far. Glenn Hoffman was standing there pointing at the bag, get back, get back. Chase didn't see it. He came off the bag a few steps. The shortstop who had made the diving play to keep the ball in the infield threw the ball to 3rd base. They get Chase. End of the inning. Very frustrating. Some great defensive play by the Padres throughout this ball game, by the way. A couple of diving plays by Jed Jerko. Now, he did make his first error of the game, of the year, I should say. It was a bunt situation. Throw came to him and went right under his glove. Don't know what happened. Fortunately, Stults was able to pitch over it. But he did make his first error. But he did have 2 very nice diving plays, one behind 2nd base to get a force out, and another one to the opposite side, to his left side. So some really nice plays by Jed Jerko tonight, and some great defensive work by John Baker tonight. Threw out 2 base runners, including a key clutch situation. The Padres were finally able to get a run across in the bottom of the 8th inning, and they did it with the help of an error by Zimmermann. John Baker gets on base on a base hit, bunt play. Everett Cabrera gets the bunt down. Alexi Amarista gets the bunt down. They throw Baker out at 2nd base, and you think, oh, end of the sacrifice. Things didn't work out. Padres are in trouble. But Zimmermann makes an error. He throws a wild pickoff play over to 1st base. That allowed Amarista to get into 2nd. So even though the sacrifice wasn't successful, the Padres, thanks to the error, actually turned out into a better situation because they still had a runner on 2nd base with 1 out, and that runner was much faster, and it sure would make a difference because the next batter, Everett Cabrera, gets a base hit, slider on his hands, fought off into center field, great at bat. And Alexi Amarista, being as fast as he was, able to score from 2nd base despite the good throw by Denard Span. Beats the throw at home by a little bit. I'm not sure John Baker would have been able to with his wheels, so it all worked out for the Padres. That was the go-ahead run. Now, I mentioned that John Baker did do a nice job of throwing out runners. Houston Street comes into the ballgame, walks the leadoff man, gets the next guy out, strikes out Zimmermann, as a matter of fact, with the runner going, and instead of being able to get the ground ball double play, they have to strike him out, throw him out on a perfect throw by John Baker, and all of a sudden the Padres have 2 outs with nobody on. Houston walks the next batter. It's never dull with Houston Street on the mound so far this year, but he's able to retire the final batter on a first pitch slider that's popped up to the right side, and the Padres are celebrating. So as you can see, there was a lot going on in this ball game. The bottom line was Eric Stults, fantastic pitching job, some great defense by the Padres, some poor base running by both teams, but the Padres ultimately won this ball game thanks to an error by Jordan Zimmerman and some quick base running and a clutch hit by Everett Cabrera. Yonder Alonso gets his home run early in the ball game. So it was an exciting game, and the Padres break the 2-game losing streak, and they'll try to even up this series tomorrow. Let's see who's going tomorrow. Give me 1 second. Got to look at my notes. Get so excited about this ball game. Let's see. We have Andrew Kashner bringing the heat. 94 to 97 mile an hour fastball, nasty changeup, coming off a great outing. He'll be going up against Dan Herron. Hey, that's one thing you got to say about this Nationals ball club. Every single night they bring up a good starting pitcher against you. And you saw Davey Johnson has confidence in his starters for the 3rd night in a row. He's allowed his starting pitcher to go deep in the ball game and not gone to his bullpen very early at all. In fact, Zimmerman, even when he was running into trouble in the 8th inning and allowed a run to score, didn't have anybody up in his bullpen. This was Zimmerman's game the whole way. And I'll tell you what, Zimmerman and Stults both pitched a great ball game. Eric Stults came out on top, 8 solid innings, 1 run. And great to see the Padres be able to hang on and win this one. So great job. Ball game tomorrow starts at 1:10 San Diego time. Andy Mazer and the Colonel Jerry Coleman will be bringing you the call. Ted Light and myself will have the day off, but we'll be watching. We'll be cheering. Hope that you join Andy and the Colonel. And I'll be talking to you again on Monday. Thanks for joining me. I'm Bob Scanlon. Appreciate you checking out this post-game update, and we'll talk to you on Monday. So long.
These streets know you, and when it's time to handle business, then we know what